We're going to open up, and we can create our own from scratch. We've done a lot of that with our intro and our common, uncommon, rare, and very rare. And it might be a fun exercise if instead we... Delcorin swaggers in, fashionably late. If we randomly roll a magic item off of the table, and then we will apply a sentient status to it of some variety. And that way, I mean, if we want to create a custom sentient item from scratch, we may. Although giving sentience to an item is a process like creating an item. So for purposes of us being able to create a couple different sentient items in this part, I figured let's use an item that we may already be familiar with that's generated in the DMG and apply the methodology to it. I know, Diadems, isn't that right? I mean, he came in, you know, he had his top hat and, you know, in his very fine cane, a two-tailed coat, and, you know... clearly that means that Delcorin must have won the Powerball tonight, or he has some precognition that he's going to pick up that $1.6 billion Mega Millions lottery result on Tuesday. So his confidence is just oozing through the chat and screen. See, I called it, right? There you go, Delcorin. There's a custom disadvantage for you. They can be made through strong magic. I think there's a lot of ways that we can actually explore making sentient items as well. We kind of dabbled with sentient items and cursed items with one of the items we made last night. 18 and 10, yeah, on disadvantage, you still won it. There you go. You know, go get you a ticket, Delcorin. You defeated that lion. Yeah, and you won that epic last night. And then you... So you won an epic last night, and you won the level 1 adventure tonight. The Gambler's Fallacy states that clearly you are on a winning streak, and you are due a big payoff. Okay, let's go through, you know, D&D class, open your Dungeon Master's Guides, your DMGs, as I know you kids call them, in the locker rooms and hallways when us teachers aren't listening. Open them up to page 214. And we are going to go over, Broplier, no, we're talking about the lottery, not a miniature raffle. I mean, there are those, if you want to sponsor a box to put up for a raffle, you certainly may. But I'm not going to be running a miniature raffle on this segment. I just have this one last box of Monster Menagerie, and then I have a couple more boxes of Dragon Heist beyond this. That's up to you, Broplier. Alright, some magic items possess sentience and personality. Such an item might be possessed, haunted by the spirit of a previous owner. Oh, snap! Hey, Coffee Cat! Welcome! Thank you very much for that host. Brother, we are on page 214 of the DMG. If I win the jackpot on Mega Millions, I'll totally sponsor a box. I could afford it. Well, thank you, Delcorin. I very much appreciate that sentiment. or self-aware thanks to the magic used to create it. In any case, the item behaves like a character, complete with personality quirks, ideals, bonds, and sometimes flaws. A sentient item might be a cherished ally to its wielder, or a continual thorn in the side. Most sentient items are weapons. Other kinds of items can manifest sentience, but consumable items such as potions and scrolls are never sentient. I can understand why. I think it would still be a fun challenge if you came across a sentient potion or scroll of some variety. Think of that. Think of the moral challenge you'd have if you had like some sort of a life restoring potion, like a curative potion, but it had a life of its own, and it came down to the point where if you don't give this potion to your friend or family member, your friend or family member will die. And yet, if the potion is consumed, the entity inside of that potion might very well die as well. Whose life is more important in that circumstance? Or you carry around a scroll of some kind of a spell, and you know, your back's to the wall, and a bunch of kobolds are coming in, or a bunch of orcs, or you know, some lizard men or something are coming in to try and get you. And you need that fireball spell in order to put them down. Your life is in danger. But you know, as soon as that spell is cast, that it's gone. You know, this life force, this sentience, it will be gone. Maybe it's 100-year-old scroll, and it's just observed things throughout history. What's more important in the moment? Your life or the consciousness of a magical item? I think that's good role-playing fodder for you. It'd be proof I didn't forget about you little people. Thank you, Delcorin. Diadems, you don't have your book again. This is like the second or third time now. Shame on you. I don't know. Am I going to have to send you out into the hallway to hold a bucket of water? Am I going to have to send you to see the principal? Tut-tut. Exactly, a moral dilemma. I mean, not that you can't have a moral dilemma with a sword or magical boots or a cape or something. You can. But think about a consumable item, right? It's gone, and it's gone expressly by your use of that item. You know, you're making a conscious decision for your own, presumably for your own benefit, to consume the magic holding this consciousness together. Diadems, in my best Spicoli voice, something happened to man. Sentient magic items function as NPCs under the DM's control. Any activated property of the item is under the item's control, not its wielder's. Bear that in mind. Now, your DM might relinquish control back to you as a PC, but this is also why introducing sentient items requires some caution in your campaign or your campaign world, because suddenly the story can shift dramatically to focus on an item and not the characters who are playing through. Oh, Brother 12, thank you so much for that host. As long as the wielder maintains a good relationship with the item, the wielder can access those properties normally. If the relationship is strained, and by the way, it says a relationship. It doesn't just mean attunement. It's not an automatic, it's not an automatic thing. Let's see. If the relationship is strained, the item can suppress its activated properties or even turn them against the wielder. You know, you don't have enough badges to control that Charizard, my friends. If you think about it, living golems or sentient magical items is oftentimes the easiest way to make one is to strip the sentience from something and put it into the item. And hey, Cake Boss, welcome back. Oh, cool. Thank you, brother. Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you going out of your way to do that. Alright, so creating a sentient magical item. When you decide to make a magic item sentient, you create the item's persona in the same way you would create an NPC, with a few exceptions described here. Sentient magic item has intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, and, we can choose, we can generate stats, that's fine. It has a method of communication, which there's a percentile chart we can roll on. It also has senses. With sentience comes awareness. A sentient item can perceive its surroundings out to a limited range. You can choose its senses or roll on the following table. It has an alignment, right? It has an ideal. It has a way of expressing itself. If this sentience doesn't care about the well-being of others, it'll probably be more of an evil item, because it just wants to get the job done. It doesn't matter who wields it. It doesn't matter about feelings. It doesn't matter about moral conundrums. I was made to, well, we'll go off the popular manga turned into an anime recently of Goblin Slayer, which is a mature title, by the way. So I'm going to throw that out there. But, you have a sword that just says, I was made to kill goblins. I don't care if it's an elderly goblin, an infant goblin that was just born like a day or two ago. I don't care if if you're putting me through the throat of a pregnant goblin. I don't care if you're going to there's a local tribe of goblins that actually is in a healthy economic relationship with the local townsfolk. There's no animosity. They don't raid. A goblin is a goblin to this thing, and if that's what it's meant to do, it's going to convince, compel, or withdraw its powers from you because you're not doing what it was meant to do. Hey Zeta, welcome back. Well, not necessarily. What I described, you could have a chaotic neutral alignment. That could be a lawful evil. Very much what I described could be a lawful evil style alignment. And remember, I throw this out here often when we talk about alignment. And I'm not shy about doing it multiple times over broadcasts. Don't think of good and evil or law and chaos as black and white terms, or as the kind of like Disney Star Wars-ified, good is absolute good and distinguishable, evil is absolute evil and distinguishable, everything is in balance of good and bad. Think of evil as more selfish. You have selfish intentions. You care about yourself more than others, and you're willing to sacrifice the happiness, wealth, or well-being of others to attain your goals. Now, your goals don't have to be to burn down an orphanage and kick a puppy in the street either. You could have a very selfish bend that you have an ideology like my religion is correct over others, and people who don't share it, I'm sorry, I know I'm correct, and I'm gonna have to hurt you to try and convince you otherwise. Whereas good is more of a selfless bend. It doesn't mean you can't, make money and hang on to it, or to, invest or sit on some coins or store them. You don't have to be completely, selfless. You're allowed to have, to take care of yourself, but you don't mind going out of your way to help other people's more often than not. You might have more societal goals than personal goals. And then neutral is kind of in between. Yeah, you take care of yourself, but you realize that if you're taking care of yourself, you are adding to society. Or if you're taking care of yourself, you know what you can do, and so others as individuals or society can prosper. Now, we flip that around to law and chaos. Chaos, think of it as someone who's impulsive. Not just jumping to like a ADHD kind of a thing, like, ooh, squirrel, ooh, glittery stuff, ooh, blinking lights. It doesn't just have to be that. When was the last time you were at a grocery store and you saw the candy that they have at the checkout aisle and you said, yeah, you know what? I came in, I got pasta and sauce and all my other groceries. I kind of want that bag of M&Ms. That's more of an, right? It's an impulse buy. That was a chaotic decision. You never planned on picking up M&Ms, but you did it anyway, and you justified it because it was there. There was an opportunity. I seized it. So a chaotic aligned character is an impulsive character. Kind of rides the tides that shift and go in and out through society and time and circumstances. Whereas a lawful character is more methodical, right? You're not impulsive, you're methodical. So you won't buy the M&Ms. Or if you do, you didn't buy the M&Ms at the checkout line. You bought the M&Ms in the candy aisle because it was on your list of things to purchase. Because you realize, I eat M&Ms, I want M&Ms, I'm going to purchase them. And they're a part of your normal shopping. And so now if you look at that, yeah, they're called impulse items or impulse cues or all sorts of stuff. New art in the Discord. Okay, I'll pop that open in just a little bit here, Coffee Cat. By the way, everyone, so Coffee Cat is one of our resident artists here. He does amazing work, and by the way, take a look at his portfolio. He's excellent to work with, and don't be shy about pursuing some kind of a commission with him. He does very good work, and I think you'll be happy with the results. Mordecai is definitely a chaotic boy. Yes, he's very impulsive, right? You might be more emotional than logical, which is another way of looking at that. So, we have these tropes of looking at, well, a chaotic evil character wants to do just that. I'm going to burn down the orphanage and kick every puppy I see because I'm a bad guy, and I wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and say, I'm a bad guy, and I'm going to do random stuff. Holds up a spork, lol, 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 I like penguins. It doesn't have to manifest like that. You can be functional and not overtly murderous and be chaotic evil. It just means you're very selfish and very impulsive. So think about it that way. Bubonic said your nephew called, had to help him with it. Oh, what was the subject, Bubonic? Hey, Igneal, great to see ya. Zeta says, I have a tiefling who's chaotic neutral who bought 4 pounds of tacos 2 towns ago. Now every once in a while he just pulls out a taco, even mid-royalty meetings. How are you preserving your tacos? Wouldn't they get soggy? I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for asking, Igneal. And Delcorn says, I call them foons. I'm not sure what a foon is. Through magic? We're in a magical world. That makes sense. Magic explains everything. Alright, so anyway, right, if we have, oh, foons, right? Okay, gotcha. Fork spoons? Got it. Delcorin just has to be the outlier. You have to be the rebellious old man. Back in my day, we called them foons, and we liked it too. None of this millennial spork malarkey. A rumph. I'm chaotic like that. Oh gosh, you all are something else. So anyway, if we're going to give sentience to an item, right, it'll have a personality of some kind. And don't forget, too, you can control the force of that personality. You can have a chaotic evil dagger that actually does want to murder someone. Or anyone, really. But maybe it just comes through as constant little whispers. Like, hey, you see that person bending over? Great kidney shot right there. Hashtag just saying. It doesn't have to compel you and strip agency from the character, which is something you should watch out for. Again, if you're a DM, sentient items can sometimes override your player character, like your player's character. and suddenly it's your character as DM, and why is your PC even showing up? So be careful about that. So there's a difference, because a chaotic evil whispering dagger of temptation or something is still chaotic evil, the same as a dagger that is going to, you know, like force your hand to go to your hip and draw the dagger and plunge it into the kidney of someone who's over there. They're both chaotic evil. There's just different levels of expressing it too. First year sports management. Forgot the name. Okay, no. Yeah, sports management and other forms of management are college courses. Yep. In fact, because of the tourist industry here in our part of Ohio, one of our state universities is making a branch campus sort of a designation for hospitality management, so you can get a degree in it, because you can study that in all of the amusement parks and hotels and everything that's in our area as a living lab. He wants to be a high school football coach. Gotcha. And oh, Zebracorn wants to be a high school football coach too. That's really cool. Zeta, would you maybe want to look at the doc I've been working on? Yeah, if you want to upload it, or if you don't want to put it publicly in Discord, you can send a private message, and I can pop it open, and we can take a look at it over the course of our broadcast tonight, Zeta. And then we give it characteristics. Use the information on creating NPCs in Chapter 4 to develop a sentient item's mannerisms, personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. You can also draw on the special features section earlier in the chapter. If you determine these characteristics randomly, ignore or adapt any result that doesn't make sense for an inanimate object. I think, you know what though? This is our challenge. If we get something that doesn't make sense, let's make sense of it. I believe in us to be able to do that. Same with being able to manufacture a sentient potion. If you so you could send it as a file, unless you have it as like a Google Doc link. Whatever works best for you. Either, well, you know what, Twitch messaging can be derpy. Why don't you send it to me through Discord, Zeta? Zebra, sorry, just got here. I thought we were giving the sentient item a goal. I do not. Oh, you do not want to be a coach. Got it. Okay, and it's giving a couple, it's giving a couple, varieties. I mean, now, we're talking about legendary weapons that are sentient, and you know what? If there's an item that'll probably have sentience, a legendary is fine, right? It's the most powerful tier of magic item. I would like to, I'd like to challenge us that we can create sentient items that don't have to be mega powerful, you know, very rare or artifact tier legendary items or weapons. I believe in us. We can do this. All right, so let's delve into this, right? So here's our reference, which is on page 214. Let's randomly generate a base, some kind of an item. And to do that, One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I's as high as it goes. Alright, so I'm going to roll a d10. And we're going to determine which table we're going to use. Right? Here we go. 2. Alright, so we're going to go to table B. And now we're going to roll a percentile and figure out which magic item we're going to use as a base. All right, Zeta, I'll make sure to take a look at it, and we'll, when we go through our exercises, we can pop it open, and we can take a look at, like, do you want us to take a look at some of your items, or what would you, what kind of interaction are you seeking, Zeta? Let's roll our percentile on magic item table B. 11. A potion of greater healing. So we can delve into, the potion as the item, and we can have that moral conundrum, or we can describe it that it is a magic item that if a potion is poured into it, it can create it can like upgrade a potion in some way. And, you know, so we talked about the moral conundrums before about creating a sentient consumable. So it's more like the liquid itself, which I don't mind exploring. In fact, we'll do a parallel. Why don't we, here's our base item, a potion of greater healing. We'll do a parallel where we're considering that the flask is actually the magic item, or that the potion is the magic item, and we can discuss it 2 in 1. Yeah, exactly, Bubonic. Hey, XCat, welcome. Feedback on the custom items you made, Zeta? Okay, all right. It might. It might. We were talking about the morality of that. All right, now let's fast forward to page 214. Whoop, I went too far. All right, a sentient magic item has intelligence, wisdom, and charisma scores. You can choose the item's abilities or determine them randomly. To determine them randomly, roll 4d6 for each one, dropping the lowest roll and totaling the rest. Makes me think of Odo from DS9. Hey, good reference, Delcorin. I mean, we could follow that, right? Because there's not really physical stats because it's an object. But we can go int Wiz Cha. And let's roll 4d6. Whoop. Let's see. 4, 5, and 1 is, and we're going to drop one of the ones, is 10. Now, some DMs might allow you, in fact, if we go over to our dice roller here, there's a reminder in chat over here. You know, drop the lowest out of the remaining. Some DMs may allow you to re-roll a 1. So there's all sorts of dice generators over here in chat for you, by the way. And so, you know, if you're looking for stuff on the fly. So in this case, we're floating a 10 somewhere. Next up, we have 6, 3, 3, 5. So that's 11. That's a 14. We're gonna have a 14 somewhere. And then we're going to have a, ooh, look at that, 6, 5, 5, 6. And then we're going to have a 16 somewhere. It doesn't have to be in this order. We're just sort of floating the numbers, and we'll rearrange them based on maybe personality or the like. All right, communication. How does this item communicate with us? We're going to determine that on a percentile roll. 100. The item can speak, read, and understand one or more languages. In addition, the item can communicate telepathically with any character that carries or wields it. Cool. This is a super sentient. And by the way, consider this as well. Let's say that we had the moral conundrum of a sentient consumable. Well, so if the item communicates by transmitting emotion to the creature carrying or wielding it, would you still consume it because it's not really alive or conscious or a thing? Or, where's your line? The item can speak, read, and understand one or more languages. Is that your hard line because it can actually speak? Or would you definitely not drink it because not only can it speak and understand multiple languages, it can even speak to you telepathically, which can also carry empathy through emotion. Where's your line, right? In the moral conundrum. Zeta, I kind of like the idea of this potion almost being like a sentient healing slime in a jar or bottle. If it's magically awakened and can think for itself. Or, I'm sorry, that was an extension of the idea above. XCat says, imagine going through a whole campaign, befriending this potion, then needing it to survive far into the campaign. It begs you not to, or worse, sacrifices itself for you. It's a potion. Yep, that's exactly what we prompted. Whose life or existence or sentience means more? If it's a potion that you need to cure yourself or to get you out of a situation, or let's say it's a scroll of fireball and you have a bunch of baddies that are definitely going to kill you, or if not just you and your friends, and you need that fireball in order to get out of there. Is it worth the life of this scroll? And think of it this way. What if it was a newly created scroll that was just accidentally sentient? Would you be more willing to sacrifice that scroll to save you, as opposed to finding 100-year-old scroll that that knows history and can speak of wisdom beyond just the spell that's keeping it on the paper? Whose life is worth more? Right? How would you justify that? You look at the scroll and you say, look, if the orcs kill me, they're probably going to just tear you apart or even use you. If I use you, then at least I can survive and carry on your story, if you think that justifies it. Think about a tense moment that would cause. It just becomes a part of you like another person in your head. Yeah, it could be a manifestation like that. What if it doesn't die when you drink it and it's in your system for a while? That could be. You feel it crawling through your skin. You feel it crawling through your blood. I mean, that could cause some sort of madness. You have to really watch out, though, XCat, because once we start delving into afflictions like that are severe, it's kind of like playing with a deck of many things. The deck of many things, even if a DM is offering it to the players, can absolutely ruin a player's experience or ruin a campaign. So when we start asserting control over others, that can be a very fine line to walk. Oh no, I didn't take personal offense. I want to make sure that if the topic comes up in conversation, that we talk about it and we're aware of the implications of what can occur in those circumstances. Or, well, Zeta, so, it can regenerate itself. What of this? If it can heal the body and you drink a portion of it and you want it to recover, what if that means you have to feed it body parts? Think, I guess, maybe in a sense like Little Shop of Horrors. You have a healing potion that will heal you and keep you alive. But at what cost? How many fingers do you have to sever and shove into the flask for it to be able to regenerate itself after every use? That's another moral conundrum. Because you still have the power to just consume the potion and end it right there. Or you have the power and temptation to take sips to keep you going, but you have to feed it. If it cures body parts, it needs body parts. And I'm not just talking blood or spit or whatever. Like, you might have to feed it fingers, ears, eyes, organs, right? It just doesn't purify your blood, if that's all you're giving it. It has to fix your fingers and your eyes and all that. So you have to feed it different parts to keep it relevant. Hey, Pneumonica, welcome. As a note, it is a tedious process bookmarking PDFs in Scribus. I will take your word for that, Pneumonica. If you don't mind growing monster parts, then sure. Well, think about it this way, Zeta. If you start feeding it monster parts, and you take a wound, all of a sudden, I don't know, let's say you fed it a bunch of orc fingers or something. Or you mashed up a fire beetle, and you take a wound. What if suddenly, like, that head wound comes back as like a golden carapace of a fire beetle? Or, you know, instead of like a pink scar on flesh, it's like a gray color of orcs, or a green if you want green orcs. You know, so what are the sacrifices? If you want to look normal, if you want to heal normally, then you have to put in others of your kind. But if you don't care about the other creatures, then suddenly you're grinding up cats, you're grinding up goblins, you're grinding up all sorts of other things and putting them in there. So you can say, well, at least I'm not killing people, I'm just killing other stuff. Meanwhile, you're becoming a patchwork of discombobulated parts. You know, if you fit a dragon bits, then, you know, something might come back with some shimmering scales. It might come back with, you get some sort of, like, vestigial goiter that's supposed to be kind of like a dragon's throat sac that holds its breath weapon, but it's nothing, like, right? Your body just changes. And so you actually are walking around with this, like, this throat organ, like this bulbous throat organ of a dragon, even though you can't use any of the benefits because you ground up a dragon and put it in there. Don't insert undead bits, just a suggestion. Yeah, I mean, it might come back and suddenly the wound doesn't heal, but it also doesn't bleed. You know, and you get some weird effects going there. ZSC, that actually sounds cool. We haven't even put stats down on paper, and we're coming up with all kinds of interesting items for a campaign. Beholder bits might be interesting since their bodies change based on how they're feeling. So, I mean, maybe if you don't manifest that, as that might be for a biological, like 100% beholder, but you might start growing an antenna that suddenly has an eye stalk or something if you're consuming this potion. So, I mean, if we like this idea, we can roll with it 100%. Senses. Let's roll a d4. 2. Hearing and normal vision out to 60 feet. See all kinds of stuff here. Alignment. With a 58, it is lawful neutral. Alright, so we're going to take a break here to get into characteristics. Sir Naga Shadow, hello, just arriving. What's going on here? Well, welcome, Sir Naga. We are going through a D&D workshop where we are going over how to create sentient items. And we are discussing such items that don't always have to be legendary swords or like, you know, very dramatic spotlight-stealing NPC items. You know, like Black Raven Blood Edge, the Dark Steel Storm Thunder katana or something like that. I mean, games can have those, and I'm not against it. I mean, I'm saying it with a little bit of sarcasm, because a lot of times our first thing is like, yeah, I want a talking sword, and I want it to be this, like the soul of an ancient samurai or something, and that's fine. But I want us to also break out. We're talking, actually, we randomly generated a sentient potion. And what are the moral conundrums that can come with such a thing? If you're in a pinch and this potion can save your life, would you be willing to end it to save yourself? Yeah, or if you're opposite to its alignment, it won't tell you. Yeah, on the item, on what you said above that, Bubonic. A talking sword, but it just apologizes to everything you hit with it. Yeah, so like, you hit it. Oh, sorry. Oh, I didn't mean to. Oh, that was so hard. Oh, that was a critical, wasn't it? Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, you're very welcome. And so this is an interactive D&D 101 level workshop, Sir Naga. So if you have questions, if you want to share stories, if you want to contribute to the conversation, this isn't me on a soapbox. I mean, I'm affectionately calling this D&D school, and I'm your professor. So, Sir Naga, you came late to class. I want you to crack open your DMG to page 216. Come on now. Come on. Give me your pass. Why were you late? You were in the bathroom, right? Sure you were. Uh-huh. I've had students like you before. All right, so we're going to break from 216 here, and we're going to go to the characteristics that we find in NPC generation. Thank you, Naga. I'm glad that you're showing the due respect to the professor here. Oh, gosh. All right, so let's go to NPCs. And by the way, when we talk about curses, when we talk about curses in the next segment, we are going to be using more villainous statistics to come up with some creative curses. Bathroom, smash the room, I was smoking. As Bubonic at least will admit it straight up. I can respect that. I was late because this is college and I can afford to be late. That's right. You can tell the professor, I'm paying you. Now, your professor doesn't care because they're getting paid, but you can at least tell the professor, I am paying you. When I was going for my master's degree, my professors were actually very upfront about that. They said, this is optional. You're choosing to come back and receive an advanced degree. That said, I mean, we want to make it worth your while, and we want you to be engaged. So we're conscious of it. We're not just expecting participation and to hand out a degree. We actually want this to be something you are striving for because it is voluntary. And I appreciated that outlook on the program. So far, I'm totally up for seeing how this falls for its characteristics. Still rocking the idea from the last time with the whole jewelry box size mimic. Yeah, hey, this is all stuff, whether we make it here on stream or not, brother, if you want to stat it up, drop it in our workshop, and we can work on it, or you could just say, I made this as inspiration, what do you all think? And you receive the praise. So is the player's handbook, the DMG you got open. Oh, did I say player's handbook? Well, nah. Dungeon Master's Guide. Yeah, that whole I'm paying you thing didn't work in law school. Okay, so there's detailed NPCs. We don't necessarily need all this, but if we want, we can go through steps to get a little bit more information. It might tell us, how did this item become sentient? Was someone, like, sucked into it? Is it manifesting the personality of the first person? You know, if we want to go with this whole, you have to feed it what you want it to do, then it would have the personality of perhaps even the inventor, the first person who tried it and kind of got juiced by his own machine. And maybe this is his personality. You know, so, you know, we have Dr. Jekyll, who was sucked into the potion, and our potion is our Mr. Hyde. Or our potion is Dr. Jekyll in the form of Mr. Hyde, which is this consuming liquid. or if we want to say it's the flask that can that's continually mixing up new potions. All right, let's go with appearance, right? You know, we say that someone has brown hair, blue eyes, or, you know, has tattoos or something. And you're like, well, how can a potion or a flask really have an appearance that's humanoid? I don't know. Let's challenge ourselves. You have this in you. It's in your brain. Let's be a little wacky and see what we can do. Let's roll a d20 also. 5. Ragged, dirty clothes. We already have our abilities, so I'm not worried about that. Like, if you want, we can roll, like, which is the high and the low. And so, like, we can roll... thank you very much for that follow, Sir Naga. So we can make a D3, you know, int, whiz, cha. And we'll see which one is going to be the high. So let's do that. Let's roll a D3. 1. So intelligence is going to be the high. Which is going to mean that int is going to be 16, whiz is going to be 14, and charisma is going to be 10. There we go. Nice and easy. A talent. Because again, why not? What's the worst case? We say, we don't need it, and we just get rid of it. But why not give us more information? Why not inspire us even more? Let's roll a d20. 15. Expert cook. Hello! Hello! Yellow, yellow. You got this? You see what happens when we let inspiration just grow and we combine it with random number generation, which are our friends here on this channel? If this doesn't fit into what we're looking to do. All right, NPC mannerisms. $16. It choose something. Hello, hello, hello. Are we fortune tellers or what? Interactions. Roll a d12. 9. It's irritable. It's hangry. Makes all the potions super tasty. And you know what, Coffee Cat? The snozberries will always taste like snozberries. I imagine a red ooze with various colored bubbles that, when it comes out, takes a humanoid appearance. Yeah, juiced, brother. My brother got his master's in business admin in nursing. WGU is an awesome online college. I have mine, executive business management. Which is kind of like an MBA +1. I don't know. So is the player... okay, yeah, and then we're getting back up to XCat, calling me out on that mistake. That's fine, though. I respect that, too. I need to be brought in line. Now, if we want to generate useful knowledge, we can. It's not... I'm making hand gestures, and it's showing up on my second camera, because I'm going, hey, what a... It's an inadvertent advertisement, I guess, for a fundraiser to get miniatures. We can give it useful knowledge if we want, or it could just be a consciousness and it doesn't have a wealth of knowledge. It just has like an instinct or a methodology. All right, it's ideal. Ideal. Bond. Flaw. That would be so cool. A werewolf killer potion that tastes like apple. Shameless plugs are just fine, Coffee Cat says. Well, thank you. Thank you. All right, the ideal. Well, we're going to roll 2d6. Odds, it's a good ideal. Evens, it's an evil ideal. And that'll be the first number, is the alignment, and then we'll go to the specific ideal. 6 and 3. It's an evil ideal about might. It's bond. We're going to do the same thing. An evil or a chaotic ideal. That's number 1. Change. Oh my gosh. Did we not just make this potion in our minds before we're getting the stats on this thing? And its flaw? Or I'm sorry, wait, that was I'm sorry, that was another ideal. I meant whoops. Well, still, we super confirmed its personality or what it is. I'm sorry, its bond is a D10. I'm getting so excited doing this. 8. Protective of a valuable possession. Okay. That could marry the concept that the flask and the potion are actually symbiotic and they require each other. And it could still leave the question open, is the magic the dominant force or is the flask the dominant force? You know, a shell is a big part of a hermit crab, but it's not the controller of the overall being. It's the smaller hermit crab inside. Or the flask needs content inside of it maybe to feel justified or relevant. All right, its flaw or secret is a D12. 9. Ooh, a shameful or scandalous. Shameful or scandalous history. Diadems, I'm unconsciously telling you to support a box of minis. I guess so. I'm so used to doing it consciously that I'm just inadvertently making flashes of light in the corner to distract you and to go, ooh, a beholder. Ooh. Well, if you look, actually, there's another beholder right back here in the background. You see this this shadow? That is Xanathar. I don't know if you caught that. But that's Xanathar lurking in the background over everything. Okay, now we're going to go back and continue. We gave it characteristics. Let's give it a special purpose. What about a beer holder? That's a... As a monster or a magic item? In other words, it would be like a little beer koozie that would keep your bottle cold. So, special purpose, we're going to roll a D10. 8. Lore Seeker. The item craves knowledge or is determined to solve a mystery. Learn a secret or unravel a cryptic prophecy. Ooh. Conflict. A sentient item has a will of its own, shaped by its personality and alignment. If a wielder acts as in a manner opposed to the item's alignment or purpose, conflict can arise. When such a conflict occurs, the item makes a charisma check, contested by the wielder's charisma check. If the item wins the contest, it makes one or more of the following demands. And so there's other things that are here. We don't necessarily need this because this is kind of a rider that comes with sentience. But I would, make a note of this if you're creating sentient items that conflict can occur. And so make a bookmark on page 216. And so here we go. A beholder-shaped glass vial. Oh, so it'd be something like, whoop. And it has, like an eye stalk. And then the others would sort of flare out like this. So one of the eye stalks would be, you know, would kind of act as a handle. And then you'd have your, you know, this would be like, you know, this would be like metal or something. But when you pour the liquid in, the eye is glass, and so you can actually see the level of your you can see the level of your beer or whatever's left inside. Whoops. I think I just made a beholder jack-o'-lantern, which reminds me, by the way, we do have a pumpkin carving contest or an equivalent, you know, a costume contest or whatnot on our Discord. If you all want to carve a pumpkin and submit it, I think we can have a lot of fun with that. It'd be a ball at the end of the eye stalks that would twist together and shape the neck of the bottle. Picasso's proud of me. Thank you very much, Sir Naga. I believe in OpenOffice, MS Paint, and and a lot of other simple tools like this free dice roller from Wizards of the Coast. I want to keep everything simple and accessible, which is also why most of what we do references the core 3 books. The eye can look like an ever-seeing eye, says Bubonic. I want to draw a beholder potion bottle now based on the concept of it being a beholder body at the bottom, but the eye stalks twist together to make the neck. That would be really cool, right? You know, kind of a central eye to let you look inside, and then you'd have a bunch of, you know, it would look like a braided... And then when you get to the top, all of the eye stalks end. And so you actually have 9 little... As like a decoration at the mouth of the bottle. You have 9 little eye stalks here. As the lip. Hey, King, I bought a skeleton to spook people with, but then I realized it was silly since I can just use my own. That's right. I mean, if you're a lich, you just go, woo, and you flash. But can anyone really arrest you because you don't have bits to expose, really? So there you go. What if the item tells you if a potion's dangerous or not? Well, if that is going to fit in the personality of our random prompts. The bits are well preserved. I have to keep the wife happy after all. I guess she's worth a 4th to 5th level slot a day. Alright, so here we go. The item base is a potion of greater healing. It has an intelligence of 16 and so forth. And this is where we can describe it. And you know what? I don't know if I have to even write it out. At least for all of you who've been here in the workshop. Here we have some kind of a flask, or it's the potion, and maybe we don't know. Or maybe they're inseparable and they can't even tell you. But it has the ability to cure you But to make more of it without depleting it or possibly killing the item by depleting the potion, you have to feed it parts. And you'll end up looking like the parts that are that you feed it to. And so if you say, I don't want to kill humans, maybe I'll kill tieflings, and you put like tiefling tails in there, then you'll start growing a tiefling tail when you use the healing properties to regenerate your body. It has a whole way to discuss things with you, right? It craves knowledge. Well, look, it was an expert cook, maybe in life or as it exists now. It chews on stuff. Well, it chews up the ingredients to make the potion. It can do so because it's an expert cook. It might even tell you, hey, throw in a little pinch of orange rind, and I'll make sure to flavor it for you. You know, so nothing like throwing in a bunch of, you know, the ears you cut off of your enemies with a hint of orange inside. It is irritable, though. So it is a hangry item. It does believe in might, and so I think it's all, you know, it says evil. You know, is it going to tell you to, you know, use it as a wood chipper, kind of like in Fargo? You know, just be like, oh yeah, there's an orphan, no one's going to miss it. Just, you know, just sort of pulp the orphan and shove it in, and I'll mix it up to make you something really tasty. And by the way, throw a couple cherries in. I'm going to go for a cherry limeade. The world will love it. You know, so it believes in power. It wants to create more and better exotic blends. It's protective of a valuable possession, and I think that's what blends the... Is it the potion? Is it the flask? Is it both? The flask values the potion. The potion values the flask. And if the flask breaks, or the potion is completely consumed, the whole thing is gone. It's a set item. And there's some kind of shameful or scandalous history. Well, what if? What if it was something... This is a lawful neutral. What if this was something of a regret from the original creator? Right? We kind of said, well, maybe he stumbled across something and was kind of sucked into his own creation. What if he cooked using people? Right? He had to have a big banquet for his king, and he was some executive chef, and he ran out of beef and pork. And he said, well, you know what? There's this person who's scheduled to be executed anyway. They're dead, or they're already dead. Why don't we, you know, or maybe they were just executed and they're awaiting burial or something. Let's not let it go to waste. Let's actually let people, and so maybe this person actually fed other people. But how we're justifying the more lawful neutral bend is they were already dead, they're criminals, and they're going into something that is actually serving the good king of the realm, who's actually preserving law and order. You know, there's a lot of ways that we can wiggle with it, but that's the great mental exercise. And so maybe that's the shameful or scandalous history that suddenly, you know, bloomed. XCat, this item sounds like an awesome plot device for making new races. In fact, I would urge you, if you haven't taken a look at the Curse of Strahd module, I don't want to spoil too much, but there is a concept that might fit, you know, with what you're saying there, a concept that might fit what we're talking about. Not through a magic item, but through something that exists in the module. But again, I don't want to spoil things for those of you who haven't played through it, because I'd highly recommend playing through Curse of Strahd. Oh, yeah, coffee, you love tieflings? Well, hey, just spare some horn, grind it up, and throw it in there. You know, just nip the tail. You know, keep going down. King says, I imagine a potion of Beholder turning you into Krang from Ninja Turtles, just with your belly being a big eye with eye stalks that tells you to attack people. Yeah, in a very high-pitched voice. With a little bit of a warble, like, Shredder! What have you done to track down the turtles? You pick up a potion with an elegant, twisted, and knobbed bottle. The drinking tip is an unusual protrusion. You begin to suspect its true nature when you glance at the logo on the bottom. But is it really a cursed item? Depending on the person, it's a blessing. Yeah, so clearly it was an evil aligned dragon that had that item crafted, right? Well, here we go. We made a really cool... by the way, what do we want to call this? What do we want to call this potion flask thing? Throw it out there. I'm looking for names. And while you're doing that... We're going to make a second one, but it's going to go a lot more quickly because there's not a lot of intro and other talking. But we're still going to make something, I think, that's going to be a lot of fun. A cask of endless wonder. Something about spying. Bro Player wants to call it Dave. Stanley is a very good one. A decanter of endless healing. All right, so what we can do because of the nature of this, as it does have the sentience of perhaps someone, maybe the person's name was Stanley. Ooh, Stanley Draught. Draught like a drink, but we're using it as the last name. Right, it has normal vision, so that means it was probably a human, a halfling, or a dragonborn. But with a name like Stanley, it's probably more of a human, right? You know, again, look at the details for clues. So the person's name was Stanley Draught, but, you know, through the years, people called it ever more very romantic, adventurous sounding names. So it became, people then called it the Decanter of Endless Healing. Ta-da! Do you feel inspired to use this in your campaign? Or if not this item, this... You see how easy it was? And now let's do kind of like a speed run version. Are you ready for the challenge? Let's go through and whip up some kind of a sentient magic item. We've gone through the motions. We have our brain juices flowing already. Stanley made a potion, and Stanley was very happy. Oh, this is suddenly a parable of some kind. Am I right, Pneumonica? Alright, we're going to go back to our charts. There are 9 different magic item charts, so I'm going to roll a d10. Let's reset our rolls. I guess we're looking on item B again. Now, this time, I do want to get something other than a consumable item. Let's mix it up a little bit. So, hey, this is forcing us. We're not making the ultimate endgame sword of savagery, you know, that contains the soul of you know, some dark, evil, dead lord, you know, Ravenstorm Bloodsteel, the, you know, Junior. But he always resented being called Junior and would execute anyone who called him as such. You know, not all your sentient weapons need to be dark, gritty, you know, fallen kings and whatever. We're looking at uncommon items, and that's fine. All right, anyway, here's magic item table B. Let's roll a percentile. 58. A spell scroll. We're going to re-roll. I don't want it to have a consumable. But you can imagine if you want to take that prompt as well. 73. Oil of... this is really going to be... mostly potions. Kind of starts at 84 through 100. So we're gonna roll a we're just gonna roll a 17-sided die. Five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Goggles of Night. When you wear them, it confers dark vision. All right. Let's roll up some stats. 4d6, drop the lowest. That's going to be a 13. And these scores are floating. It doesn't have to be in this order. 12. And 14. Okay, communication style. Percentile. With a 33, the item communicates by transmitting emotion to the creature carrying or wielding it. Senses. 1. Hearing and normal vision, although in this case, because of the nature of this item, we're going to say hearing and dark vision out to 30 feet. Even though it confers, like, it just confers dark vision on, you know, that you might normally be able to see. But the item can only sense a certain, you know, maybe because it's smaller. I don't know. We can explain anything. This is a game of imagination. All right, its alignment is chaotic evil. Still an old style ego of 39, so fairly tough. King says, spying Stanley Draught, found what he sought, heard your secrets from afar, kept your regrets in a jar. Spying Stanley Draught deserved everything he got. And this is the stuff that comes up when you do a legend lore. Sometimes coming up with stuff like this also adds a bit of fun to the item. In before the goggles do nothing. Okay, its special purpose is a D10. 10. Creator Seeker. The item seeks its creator and wants to understand why it was created. So, it is impulsive and selfish. Again, this doesn't mean that as chaotic evil, it has to, you know, when you attune to it, you don't have to simulate playing Dead Space 2 to attune to these chaotic evil goggles of night. And if you don't know what I'm saying, I'm just going to leave it at that. If you do know what I'm saying with the reference of Dead Space 2, you're welcome. All right, once again, like this is something to consider, right? There has to be conflict. You know, if it's creating its seeker and you're going against that or some other aspects of the personality, maybe you are going to play Dead Space 2. And now we're going to go to characteristics. The appearance is going to be a D20. 5. 5 is, oh, once more, ragged, dirty clothes. All right, we're going to roll a D3 and find out which of the strengths is the highest. Actually, last time, I guess I should have rolled again for the 2, because it wasn't just an automatic one or the other. Anyway, we'll see. So, highest... Oh, I hit reset. Ha, I'm a derp. 2. Okay, so wisdom is the highest, and... I can't take 2 again. I can't take 2 again. There we go. And intelligence is the lowest. So it's going to go 14, 13, 12. Not that there's a huge difference between them. Okay. Its talent is a D20. And we rolled 20. Oh. It knows thieves can't. And it might even confer it on you, too. Its mannerism is 12. Prone to predictions of doom. And how does it interact with you or other people? Oh, come on. There it is. 3. It's blustering. Does it know useful knowledge? Well, that's up to us. Well, you know. It's a good part of its backstory as a DM if you're running this in your world. It might be able to deliver tidbits of information. It's ideal. We're going to roll 2d6. So it'll be evil. Actually, hang on. You know, last time I guess I just did a 2d6 up here, but it still worked out pretty well. So we actually need to go... evens, and then 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But is it going to be a good, lawful, or neutral ideal? So I'm going to roll a d3. 3. It'll be a neutral other ideal of glory. Sorry, I was so chatty last time I didn't read the full charts. Whatever, our item still works and is awesome. Who cares? NPC bonds, a d10. A 7. It is also protective of a sentimental keepsake. Ooh. I have an idea. And a flaw or a secret is a D12. 6. It is prone to rage. Alright, have a good night, bro player. Thanks for hanging out with us. Poor Goggles was made so some wizard could laugh at rogues in their own secret language. Alright, now let's go to Goggles of Night. And let's get some ideas, right? We have a base item, and if you're not familiar, here we go. Goggles of Night, right here. Kind of have an owlish look to them. Goggles of Night, uncommon wondrous item. While wearing these dark lenses, you have dark vision out to a range of 60 feet. If you already have dark vision, wearing the goggles increases its range by 60 feet. And so, we think. And we think. The item seeks its creator and wants to understand why it was created. The appearance, I mean, so ragged, dirty clothes, it might not come across as having this nice metallic filigree and whatnot. It could look like scraps or even like a bandage over the eyes in some way. It knows thieves can't. It's prone to predictions of doom. It's blustering. It has an ideal of glory. It's protective of a sentimental keepsake. And it's prone to rage. It's selfish and impulsive. Something that's coming to my mind, and you're welcome to throw out your own ideas. Right now, it's all in the prototype phase. It could be anything. What if this was the actual eyes of a drow, a male drow that saw or heard too much in a temple of Lolth? Maybe he even tried to break in to steal something. It could have been an inter-house conflict. That way, maybe it knows a thieves' cant or something similar. It saw something beyond even what it expected. So it's prone to predictions of doom. And it might even be, how would you wear actual eyes? For any of you who are artists, please don't cringe too much. And then it's going to be wrapped in some kind of, like, bandages or something, right? Like so. So they're actually containers that hold the eyes of this person. Right, I guess the bandage is sort of like, you know, hang on to the... Creator Seeker, though, maybe someone was betrayed by someone who wanted his eyes, and now he's trapped as just a set of eyes. So the eyes are embedded in goggles, is what you're going for? It could be. I'm open to suggestions. Maybe is too crazy, but what if the goggles show some vision of the past in order to seek the help of a person who can carry it and discover who was that person who betrayed her, following the idea of king? Fun thing, if the eye-holding band is broken, you can drink some of X-Cat Darknick's Beholder Potion, gouge 2 of the stalks, and then have them hold the new eyes. Alright, so if we're building this idea here, someone was betrayed by someone who wanted his eyes. So yeah, maybe as punishment. Or in fact, maybe this was the priestess's eyes. And the priestess saw something within the order. And so, I don't know, they were removed. I think there's a lot of stuff here. So of course, you know, here, we'll give very, whoops. We'll give very pretty eyelashes. So we have the ragged, dirty clothes because they're just sort of like eyeball containers that are held in by, you know, by strips of cloth that you wear over your head. It knows thieves can't. It's prone to predictions of doom, so it could have been a Lolth priestess or someone affiliated. It does bluster because it probably saw something that was crazy. I mean, look at the eyes. These are crazy eyes. It has an ideal, though, of glory in some way. It's protective of a sentimental keepsake. Maybe they want to be reunited. They want to be reunited. And so maybe someone who is infiltrating the Temple of Lolth, they had their eyes removed, and then they feigned it was an attack or something happened so that their body can stay alive. But the eyes were enchanted to continue and sent off for protection. Maybe to go see if the prophecy was true. And so the eyes are meant to return to the holder with evidence while being sort of low-key in the Underdark. And it's prone to rage. I mean, I think that what we're building has built up. Sir Naga says 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. And Bubonic One has a name prospect, the Tenebrous Spectacles. We can go with that. Well, all right, so the dictionary, you know what? This is why, by the way. Okay, it is.
Tenebrous.
Hey, Viking. Tenebrous Spectacles, or we can name it something else. Or if we went with our sentient potion from before, what's the name of the person to whom the eyes belong? Probably. I mean, they might even have better if you consider Dark Vision as being even better than normal 2020. But there is technically another magic item that lets you zoom in with goggles. So it's probably normal vision, just with an enhancement. I mean, in secret, these are actually just, like, night vision goggles. Whoops. Sir Naga, Hipotenusa is the name. This is, alright, so Hipotenusa is the name of the drow to whom the eyes belong. Is that correct, Sir Naga? Or is this a name for the item itself? Like, not just a descriptor name, but like a name for just the item. The name of the person? And again, this all adds to the lore. Because you know what you can do? Go back and create Hipotenusa as an NPC, or as a villain, or as an actual character, because you can build drow out of the player's handbook. Make the character, right? And get into the background. Get into all the personality traits. And use this as a derivative. See how far this rabbit hole can take you. Hey, welcome back, Zeta. Oh, it's your player character name? That's fine. You're welcome to offer this as a player character name. Now we have not just Goggles of the Night. It'll function as such. And in fact, nothing necessarily has made this item more powerful than uncommon Goggles of the Night. But these aren't just a magic item. There's a history to them. There's a personality. There's more to it than just a magic item you're going to find on the shelf of Magic Walmart, where Goggles of Night are a dime a dozen. Right? What have we done to enhance the game world? To make it more than just an extension of the character who says, yeah, I'm using my Goggles of the Night, what do I see? I'm consulting Hipotenusa. What is she telling me? What do her eyes see? Call them Noc-Ocs. Noc from nocturnal and Oc for ocular. Sure, so, you know, maybe the official scientific classification is the Tenebrous spectacles. But colloquially, they are called the Noc-Ocs. Alright, Bubonic, see you later. Astraeus, when you wear them, your skin turns yellow and you gain blue overalls, but your speech becomes jumbled, and you probably like bananas too, right, Astraeus? Yes, Astraeus. In the lore that we're creating around this sentient magic item, Hipotenusa saw too much in her temple. And so as a way to preserve herself, she blinded herself and sent her eyes off to investigate, while she is claiming some sort of ignorance or an attack that has left her blind so she can still serve. And so the eyes are enchanted with, you know, with this Underdark, this sort of Lothian priestess power, and has been made into an item and perhaps lost. And you know what, though? Drow live for 700-800 years, right? Hipotenusa, I mean, this could be 50 years ago. It could be 5 years ago. It could be 500 years ago. And if this happened while she was still young, the eyes still seek to return to Hipotenusa herself. And that can cause an adventure into the Underdark. In fact, in that time, she might have gone from sort of a Lothian, like you know, sort of like an altar boy, or in this case an altar girl, up into the upper echelons. And so here you have a bunch of smarmy adventurers coming down into the Underdark, holding this as a, you know, we're gonna see Hipotenusa, because it, you know, if not, I'm gonna break the goggles, you know, and you could like hold a dagger or something to the end and like tap on the glass. Hey, 12 for 10. Nice foghorn leghorn impression. I said, hey, boy, hey, that is. Astraeus, maybe if you talk to her. In concept, she's nothing more than an uncommon pair of Goggles of Night. It's just that these Goggles of Night have a sentience to them. She may not even talk to you if you don't she may not even work for you, let alone talk to you, if you're not perhaps friendly or open-minded or want to hear what she has to say. But mechanically, Astraeus, it's just an uncommon Goggles of the Night with a personality. And so if you butter her up, maybe she'll tell you tales of the things that she has seen as the Noc-Ocs or as the Tenebrous spectacles. But it's not a guarantee. Ah, yes. Eyes to see you. Very good, Viking. All right, let's take a 10-minute break. We've made some sentient items, and you know what we're gonna do when we come back? Cursed items. These aren't cursed items. Oh no. This works as intended, as it was made. There's nothing hidden about it. Cursed items are a little bit more devious. And so instead of just an NPC, we're going to reference how to create a villain NPC as the insert into creating a cursed item. That could have sentience, or we're just going to give the curse itself a personality, if not the item. So hang tight for about 10 minutes or so, stretch, get a snack or drink, and when we come back, let's talk curses.